Hi, my name is Ivan Yong, and first and foremost, I would like to thank you for taking time to watch my presentation today. Secondly, I would like to thank a special thanks to Richard Simcott for allowing me to speak to you guys again this year, a third in a row. But this year, I'm going to plan to do something different from the last 2 years. Instead of talking about how to learn languages, I would like to share my personal experience in running a social impact program for underprivileged children in learning English. It is my hope that through this program sharing, you're inspired to do the same in your own native country, actually. For example, you as a polyglot, you may be able to teach new immigrant children your native language, or even teach English as a second language to these underprivileged children. Now, without further ado, please allow me to go to my presentation for today, which is titled A Whole New World, Transforming English Learning Journeys of Underprivileged Children. I think the topic of the title of the presentation today speaks quite clear what I intend to share today. Is it that by transforming the English learning journeys of these underprivileged children, we're able to change their world, not just the school, but their life as well? What inspired us to do this in the first place was we were visiting a non-profit organization in Hong Kong, where they have all these rows of new English books all lined up to be actually borrowed by all these children. And those books are new, they are all sponsored and new English books. But what happened was all these children, we see all these new books sitting in the library untouched. And when we asked the coordinator, why is that so? Why are all these donated books not being used? And the reason they told us was these children come from an underprivileged family where they do not speak English at home. Their parents only speak Cantonese, Hong Kong Cantonese, or Mandarin, so they can't read to them. So all these books, new English books, high quality English books, become useless for them because all they can do when they bring it back is just to see the pictures. The parents can't help them with the learning journeys, and that's why we got started with Genus. Now, a little bit about myself. For those of you who doesn't know me yet, I'm actually an organizational psychologist with a keen interest in innovation, especially corporate innovation, startups, psychometric assessments such as personality questionnaires or questionnaires that looks at your ability, like your potentials, how you can, how can we use those questionnaires to help you grow to your highest potential, and also, of course, organizational culture. Secondly, I'm also an author. I wrote a book titled Department of Startup Why Every Fortune 500 Shall Have One, which is essentially a book about how big corporates can learn to be innovative like startups by copying their culture. And that's being published by BEP New York. And later this year in 2022, I actually co-authored a book titled The Ethical Coach's Handbook, a guide to developing ethical maturity in practice by Routledge, UK. And thirdly, I'm also a mentor and coach. I've been mentoring millennials and startup founders at the Chinese University of Hong Kong for the past 9 years. I'm also a technology mentor to startups within the Malaysian government at the national level startup program. Now, the last bit is where we all interested as polyglots. I speak and write English, Malay, Mandarin, and Cantonese at native level. I'm also actually an intermediate Japanese learner. I'm still trying to push it above intermediate. And last but not least, I'm a beginner at Korean and French. I've been taking a little bit more time learning French lately. So if any of you guys out there are doing so with French at a more forced beginner sort of a level, I would love to connect with you. Now, so I told you earlier how we got started with Genus and why we call it Genus, why we call this program Genus. Genus means child in Latin. So we were encouraging corporates and individuals to be part of the I, transforming a genus into a genius. And when we look for donations, we're not specifically only looking for a big chunk of donation from a single individual or a single corporate. What we want to do is we want each individuals or corporate to be paying for one single person only, so we get more participation of individuals in that program. The program we are using is actually we provide an English reading program online and called Reading Kingdom by a renowned linguist and psychologist, Dr. Marion Blank, to underprivileged children. And all our Genius programs are based on her concept in her book, The Reading Remedy. Now, one of the key about her, about Dr. Marion Blank idea about learning English as a second language is that we do not learn content words. So content words are like nouns, like car, horses, or van. So a lot of people took time to actually memorize all these words, but about 70% of a paragraph, you look at it, is with non-content words. So non-content words are things like conjunctions, things that are not a noun, that doesn't give you meaning, but it is necessary to make meaning to the sentence. So our idea is that if you learn all these non-content words, even if you do not understand the vocabulary of that content word, which is a noun, you can guess what's actually the entire paragraph is talking about. And with that concept, they built an IT online learning program resources. And that resources is being sold at $150 per child. And what we do with those approach to our network is that we get our friends and our supporters to buy those logins for these underprivileged children. And then we provide those logins to them to use to learn for an entire year free. But that particular payment for the login is a full payment, and we are like a normal client buying from the Reading Kingdom. So we got all the full length support, we got the full suite of all the programs that's within the online resources, and we're able to give those children a full package like what a normal parent will be buying for their children. Now, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to actually transform the learning experience of underprivileged children by providing an interactive online English learning platform and enable actually independent learning beyond classroom. Now, a lot of these underprivileged children, they do not have the additional resources that other parents can give. For instance, more IT products or IT resources, or going for more enrichment classes. They do not have those. All they have is school. And in Hong Kong and many other Asian places, English is a second language. So when in school, the primary focus is still the native language. For example, in Malaysia, it's Malay. In Hong Kong, yeah, it can be English and Cantonese. But there you get the drift, is that English remains secondary. Now, what we want to do is as well, through these independent learning journeys, they feel empowered to be responsible for their own learning and are motivated to explore their interests. So valuable learning experience lead to a whole new world of success in school and life. So we don't want to see these children holding on to books that they cannot read. They have no one to ask for help. Most of the time, they can only come back to the center, and hopefully some of these centers workers or administrators have additional time to spare with them to explain to them the story in the book. And that can overcome with an actual suitable learning platform. That's an IT based learning platform. Now, why English? First of all, the language that's used in the internet, 80% of that is in English. Global business speaks English, according to Harvard Business School, Professor Salon Netley. And the other question that we ask is that 98.5% of employers actually have at least one method of assessing English. So having said that, so 98% of employees actually put a high emphasis on English command, the English command of an employee or of a potential employee. So these children, especially underprivileged children, we have no additional extra resources to go out for more English additional English resources for them to learn English. We want to give them a chance to start the working world at the equal footing of an ordinary, normal children. Our impact. By running that program for 18 months, we are able to reach 300 plus children in 9 countries. So the countries are Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, Pakistan, Indonesia, Greece, India, and also the Philippines. So what we try to do is that when we did these 18 months, we are able to work with our partners and our supporters to give all these children logins to the English reading program, which is Reading Kingdom. The children that you see at the background are those in Hong Kong. They're all, most of them, actually children of a single mother, and they're enjoying logins. They're showing you the logins that they got on the paper that they can log into the English reading program. So a little bit more about our children in Hong Kong, especially the other children you saw just now in the background. The family background of children we have worked in Hong Kong is that 55% comes from low-income family. 25% of them come from comprehensive social security assistance recipient, meaning to say government even subsidize them. So they are lower than the low-income family children. 15% of them comes from single parent, broken family, mostly single mothers. 3% of them actually parents are chronically ill, or disabled and in long-term hospital care. They can't even care for themselves. How can they care for their children? And even more, especially learning English. And of course, 2% of them are actually recommendation to social work casebook unit. That means they do have some issues at home that need social workers to intervene. So what we try to do is that beyond the English resources learning, we also try to do some activities with these children. And it's wonderful to see these children when they see you, and they're all very motivated, they're all very inspired to join into the activity you bring to them. The first thing we do is that we do fun activities with them. We welcome volunteers to conduct fun activities with the children. So we vet volunteers. There are volunteers who are willing to come and meet the children on a regular basis, and we do fun activities together with them. The children are all, the laughing and the motivation. They're trying to speak English all the time with broken English, but they're trying their very best, and you encourage them through the activities. I think it's rewarding not only just for the child, but also for us as volunteers. Of course, the second is we're trying to change the future today by providing them an English and IT resource English learning program called Reading Kingdom, which I explained earlier. And the third one is we nurture future talents for universities. And we talk to these children, like, can you describe about your ambition? Can you describe about what you want to do when you grow up? Future bankers, engineers, they all talk about that. And they all know that deep down that they need to speak more English, but they need help. And how can you be helped if you're not a parent? You can't be with them 24/7. How can you provide help? So we're trying to do that with unique resources that can help them be independent learners. And of course, we also run this thing called Genius Youth, where our youth from international schools, from better schools, have and better command of English. Elder brothers and sisters, teenagers, coming to volunteers to play with them on a Saturday. And I can tell you, twice a month, these international students, when they volunteer, they come. And these children look forward to meet these elder brothers and sisters, where they play games together in English, of course, and they learn it together, and they have fun together. And I think that was another one of the highlights of the program. So we do a more encompassing program. We try to encourage everyone to speak English as much as possible. Do not be shy when you have broken English. Of course, if they can't find a word, substitute with Cantonese, and we help them out. But more importantly, we're going to give them a learning opportunity beyond classroom, beyond the centers, beyond the NGOs centers, and they go home when they have no one more else to ask. How can they learn English? How can they continue their learning? And that's through Reading Kingdom, the online resources that we did. And of course, the 18 months we expanded to the other countries. On the left here is actually a country in Malaysia. We went to an Islamic learning school, and where the parents of the more affordable parents were buying the reading program for the underprivileged children in their own school. So, for example, my son is learning English in this Islamic school. His friends can't afford it. I'll buy another login for him. And I think that's the spirit that we can see, is that how you come together to help these children to play a part. Although it's one children, but it's one children at a time. But it's still making an impact in that children's life. And of course, this bunch of kids here with the genus and the love sign here, they're all from the Philippines. And they have done the way they show gratitude is, I still can't forget it. Or they not only they just put up this genus sign, the love sign with the Korean love sign, they also did a skit, kind of a drama skit for us actually, to thank us for giving them these logins. And we always appreciated of those children. On the right here is actually a bunch of orphans in Vietnam. Again, we provided that English reading login to them. The full program that anyone will pay at a normal price. It's not a free program. It's not a program that is actually subsidized, but you only have a portion of the program. We gave them the full program. And the bit here is actually a classroom in Shillong in India, northern India. Unfortunately, not only they do not have English resources, they don't even have laptops or computers. So we actually raised the money for those laptops that you see in the picture, and with that comes with the Reading Kingdom. And again, we see all these underprivileged children hungry for resources, hungry for knowledge, and yet most of the very good resources given to them they can't use, and we're trying to change that with Genius. And the last bit, we did something for a refugee child in Greece. And again, we gave them the Reading Kingdom. They log in and we try to see how we can help her from a distance. But the reading program she was able to learn that for a full 12 months. Unfortunately, we have to stop the Genius program because of COVID. We couldn't go out to do more work, but we are looking to continue actually. And one of the reasons I'm doing this presentation is I'm looking for like-minded people out there who may be interested to carry on this program with me. Now, what we do next is we also invest a little bit of money into creating this thing called Genius Play. What we try to do is that we created a structured play with in-house design card game called the Dino Cat. So this guy here is called the Dino Cat, the character. And we created a structured play card game with this character. So what is the Dino Cat? It's actually we designed it with a reading concept from Dr. Marion Bang book. Remember I talked about how Dr. Marion focused on the non-content words, the not, a, are, at, is, no. So we combined that into a card game. We turned that into a card game with the goal is to have fun and to learn to socialize while learning English. So this is actually an actual card game beta that we created with the Dino characters on it. Now, you may ask why Genus Play? Why we want to move to play? So we believe that a form of structured play, that means play with a learning objective, can actually inspire those kids to learn better. And also it's easy for instructors and facilitators to, to follow, because they can have a set of rules, they can explain to their children, and then they can play the game together and they can correct them. And play also allows children to learn how to socialize and communicate according to child psychology mirrored pattern stages of play theory. The other thing we did is we got City University of Hong Kong, one of the universities out here in Hong Kong, to actually come up with the rubrics for actually the game, for the learning of the game. And we designed it to be gender neutral. It encompasses cultural diversity. It's a creative design, so you can get buy-in from the child. We showed to all the childs. They're actually very happy with, they are very keen, very happy. The bright colors, the cute character of the Dino Cat eating ramen. That just inspired them to want to learn more. And of course, earlier I talked about the rubrics design. We collaborated. We actually invested quite substantial money in the card game and also into the design of the rubrics with City University of Hong Kong Department of Linguistic Translation. Now, we are now we have the card game now at the beta version, and of course, again, I'm also looking to see if there's any potential polyglots out there who may be keen to carry on that card game forward for us, together with us. Actually, I would say. Now, we are now also looking into the next step. One way is to bring Dino Cat into the augmented reality. Hopefully this can be done, but we realize that there might be a challenge to the kid having a mobile phone. So this could we may not want to proceed on this line, but we are also looking into creating the Dino Cat into the metaverse. So I have a company that's really working on metaverse, and this is actually a metaverse hall that we created. And the idea is to actually create Dino Cat into a metaverse where these children can go on a learning journey. For example, they can visit Paris. Dino Cat can be explained to them what is this Paris Eiffel Towers, what is the baguette that you're buying, what's the Louvre, and what do you find in all these museums and all that while walking through metaverse with the child and in an avatar together with Dino Cat. So we are looking to plan something of like that sort moving forward. But again, of course, we are trying to see if there's anyone interested to do this together with us. Now with that, I complete my presentation today, and I hope I've shared or probably inspired you a little bit to do a little bit of work around impact, social impact as a polyglot. You have hold tremendous power as a polyglot with your language skills, and many will benefit from it. Over in this part of the world, we're choosing English as a second language because through English, you do get a better job, a better opportunity, and of course, a better world. Thank you. And thank you for listening. And if you'd like to contact me, these are my details below. Thank you very much.